Hi, I'm Marty Richardson from ChefMartyRich.com. Welcome back to our daily tip series. Today's topic is how to set the table. Now I know, sounds boring, sounds like everybody's done it before. I get that. But setting the table is a very critical element in entertaining. I was a butler for 7 years, and this is how you set expectations for your guests. If you followed one of my tips earlier about sending out invitations, that starts the ball in motion. When they come into your home and they see your kitchen table or your dining room and the table is exquisite, it sets the bar very high. Their expectations are through the roof. And even if you serve an ordinary meal, and if you followed some of my previous tips, your meal won't be ordinary. By ordinary, I mean doesn't have to be multi-courses, doesn't have to be fancy restaurant quality dishes that are all creative with exotic ingredients. It doesn't have to be that. It can be dead, plain, traditional Thanksgiving meal. But the stage is set for an interesting evening, and that's what you're looking for. That's what's memorable. So setting the table is very important, and it starts with your table. Now, the number of guests that you invited might fit your current table, but if it doesn't and you need to beg, borrow, steal, rent tables, this is a general rule of thumb for the size of the table and the capacity for your guests. A 4-foot round table will comfortably seat 5 people and squeeze up to 8. 5-foot round, 6 people comfortable, squeeze 10. 6-foot round, about 8 people, squeeze up to 12. If it's a 4-foot rectangle, 4 to 6 people. 5-foot rectangle, 6 people. 6-foot rectangle, 6 to 8 people. And an 8-foot rectangular table would seat about 8 to 10 people. So just in case you have to add more tables and tuck them here and tuck them there for the crowd that you invited, that's a basic guide for you. Now after the table comes the tablecloth. Now of course the classic formal dinner tablecloth is white. If you can put a pad underneath it to smooth out the areas, if you've added leaves or extensions to your table, all the better. If you've got a really lacy tablecloth, make sure that there's a white underlay. You can play with the colors a little bit, but just know that, like I said, white on white is formal and it kind of goes down from there. If you're not going to use a tablecloth and you want to use placemats, you can do that, but it doesn't matter how elegant the placemat is. It's not as formal as a tablecloth. You could also put a runner, which is a thin length of material that extends the length of the table, and then it runs through the center of the table where the centerpiece is and maybe some of your dishes if you're serving family style. Again, it's a nice way to dress up your table. It lets you show off your table a little bit more, obviously, than a full coverage tablecloth, but it's just not going to be as formal. Now getting back to tablecloths for a second. Your standard everyday tablecloth hangs about 4 to 6 inches off the edge of the table. For a formal meal, your tablecloth should extend 8 to 12 inches off the edge of the table, and if it's a really formal event, up to 18 inches off the edge of the table. The next thing I wanted to talk about are centerpieces. Now, traditionally, centerpieces are flowers, any kind of flowers. But if you can coordinate with the season, again, as I said yesterday, in terms of going to the supermarket to check out the food and what's seasonal there, you could do the same at the florist and find out what kind of flowers are seasonal for your event. You can also match them to your theme or particular colors of your plates or your house or your table or something to that effect. But centerpieces can be absolutely anything. But again, make it match your theme, and then you can come up with a lot more ideas. Candles are the last thing I want to talk about today. Now, candles are appropriate at dinner and only when it's dark. You want to offset your candles so that if you have people sitting at either end of the table, they're offset so people can, that you have a line of sight. That again also goes for centerpieces. Keep them low so that people across the table can see each other and talk and not have to be going around your centerpiece so that they can converse. So again, back to candles, flip-flopping a little today. Your candles need to either be very high or very low so that you don't have a candle burning, same thing, right in your line of sight, so that it becomes more of a nuisance than adding to the atmosphere. So, and you also want to light the candles before people are seated. Not only does it give the candle a chance to start burning and you make sure you got a good wick, but you don't want to be on stage with a match trying to light candles in front of everybody. And also protect your table or your tablecloths somehow or other, either using a candle saucer under it, or there's actually like a glass saucer that goes on some candelabras that catches the wax, because wax isn't the easiest thing to get out of your fabric. So there you are, the tips for the day on setting the table, and tomorrow we're going to actually get into place settings. So thanks for watching. We'll talk to you tomorrow.